Happy Star Wars Day! And if you're watching this on a day other than May 4th, well, I hope you're still having a great Star Wars day. Whether or not you're into all the many things in the Star Wars universe, I can almost guarantee you know someone who is.
Are you talking about me?
And since 3D printing is a passion we can all agree on, I bet you've seen a few of those prints out there related to Star Wars. So today I thought I would show you a few of my favorite Star Wars prints and give you a few tips I've learned along the way. I'll have links to everything I mentioned, and if you have a favorite print I missed, well, please add it into the comments and let us all share in the fun. An obvious starting point is this May the 4th be with you sign that looks great on any desk or shelf. It's a really quick and easy print, and it doesn't need a whole lot of infill or walls. Following that has to be the ubiquitous logo that started it all. I wanted to get it at least a little bit bigger, so I ramped up the size as far as I could go, at least on my little Bamboo A1 Mini. Now, making the color change on both sides is really easy no matter what printer you have, and the designer of the logo even created multiple files if you just want to print them all out separate and glue them together. Or you can print the full text like I did, throw in a pause at the right level, and swap out the filament. A quick tip on this, should you do a filament swap though, be sure to do at least a few layers of the yellow, especially when printing on top of a dark color like black. The problem is I just painted the top color and just did that first top layer of text, and that's not nearly enough to mask that black filament below it. Another sign that uses filament swaps is this picture print that showcases 9 different images, including that logo. It could be printed in almost any color, or with a multicolor printer, you could probably change out every color if you wanted to on each image. Now, one thing I will mention is if you don't get that filament layer swap just right, you're going to end up with everything being the same color. You might as well not have even done a filament swap. Silhouette boxes are a great way to show off a movie scene or something else without taking up too much room on your shelf, and with different color combinations, you can really make them stand out. Kind of like these prints right here. They were both made by the same designer, 3D Print Bunny, who, by the way, makes a lot of great prints. Check that out. But they're both extremely simple and just really cool to look at and really easy to print. All the parts are printed separate in different colors, and then they just slide together. Lithophanes, lithographs, 3D printed light pictures, whatever you want to call it, they're just plain cool. And this is a print I did years ago when I first got into 3D printing. It prints standing up just like this, and it only took me 3 or 4 tries before I could get all the setting changes right. My wife actually allows this one to sit out in the den in front of the lamp for everyone to see. Well, some slicers do have limited image conversion to lithophane, but I'll put some links in with some of my favorite lithophane sites in the description. And let us know if you have a different one you'd like yourself. Well, for this next print, I kind of need to preface it just a little bit by saying that I'm a dad. I like dad jokes, and my wife most of the time doesn't. But this sign, well, I don't think Obi-Wan could have said it any better himself.
Use the Force, Luke.
Well, here's an interesting question for you. Why does everybody like Darth Vader so much? I mean, he did a lot of bad things, especially in Episode 3.
Of course.
Well, I think it may be because of how it all turned out. We all like that redemption story, especially when we didn't really see it coming, and I'm no different. So here's a few Darth prints that I really enjoyed making. And this first one goes with the unfortunate name of Cute Darth Vader, which I guess he is actually kind of cute in a squashed down little boy playing dress up kind of way. Since I printed this a long time ago, there's been a lot of remixes to make him easier to print, add some colors, things like that. So do some searches and find your best option. One of the many pay sites I use is Nico Industries, and this Flexi Darth Vader is one of the many Star Wars related prints they have there. I printed him out just really quick in all black, but shouldn't take much to change the lightsaber color, and more if you want to. I wish he could stand up by himself, but you know, it's a great print nonetheless. Well, string art has been hitting it big on all the sites recently, and this Darth Vader version is a great representation. I apparently didn't use quite the right settings to get the strings to work, but it still looks great. I've printed other string art prints for Christmas and stuff, so I do know that this is possible. And who could forget encasing Han Solo in carbonite? Well, I don't remember for sure, but I think this is one of the first, possibly the first thing I ever 3D printed. You know, there's not a lot of detail, but I was happy with it then. But recently, I saw this print with so much more detail and, well, you know, I had some decent silver filament, so I had to finally do it right. All right, now, I want you to think hard about this one. What's the one thing that you can hear that makes you think, that's Star Wars? Is it a blaster, pew pew? The roar of the Millennium Falcon, Chewbacca's roar, or R2-D2's electronic chirping, or this sound? Well, I admit I've printed quite a few lightsabers over the years, but this particular design is probably my favorite. It's reminiscent of Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber from the movies when I was a kid, back in the 70s.
You're old.
I've tossed more than I've kept because I just don't seem to get things right. Too many overhangs, filament changes, support mess ups, printer issues, not to mention finding just the right silky silver filament. Well, some of these lightsabers are too small, like this one. Not to mention I didn't really like the gray, so I made this other one on my IDEX, but it was too big, and I cut the top off and glued it on later, and just didn't really print all that well. Well, I recently found this big, bulky version on MakerWorld, and it really seemed to be what I was looking for. The designer actually did this as a remix, and he took the original and cut it into different pieces that could be printed separately, so you don't need a multicolor printer. It's one of my favorite prints so far, except for one thing. It's not hollow, so there's no spot to stick in one of those neat slide-out blades. It's just a hilt, but still, what a hilt. So the search continues, but wait, STL Flix is up to something a little bit different. A customizable lightsaber, right? Well, yeah and no. You can add some text to the side like that, but no changes to the configuration of the hilt yet. They're making a lot of changes. I can only imagine they'll add that feature as well, and it has that slide-out blade. Okay, time to get serious about something that has been a big or small problem, however you look at it. Filament printing, that's all I do. And unfortunately, it really doesn't always print small things all that well. For instance, this little brick. This is a real Lego brick, injection molded and all of that, and it's perfect. I've tried making a few from prints online. My results have just been varied. But what if we go bigger, like way bigger? Well, the name of this print is 650% Brick Stormtrooper, and I believe it. I knew this would take a while to print. All in all, it was about 2 days with 3 different printers. And there are a few things I really would do different on future big prints like this. First, I would verify that I had enough of the same white filament. So there's some slight variations, but you know, it works. Well, second, I somehow messed up on the infill on the helmet. There's a few imperfections, you know, especially in a few places where some black filament got used for infill, even though there wasn't any black coloring nearby. I hope that my mistakes will help you remember to check for that next time, and remind me as well. But overall, I'm super happy with this print, and I plan to keep it just as is. I'm just gonna say, you know, he's seen some things in battle.
I've seen worse.
I've seen better.
Well, did I miss something, or have you found a print we all need to make? Leave a comment and let us know. And please support the lab by hitting that like, subscribe, and share button. May the 4th be with you as we all continue to learn, create, and amaze. And by the way, Han shot first.